The rain had just started when Daniel noticed the girl. She was sitting alone at the bus stop, feet dangling above the pavement, back straight, hands folded neatly in her lap as if she were waiting in a classroom instead of on a dark, empty street. A weak street lamp flickered overhead, casting shadows that jumped with every passing car. The last bus had come and gone 20 minutes earlier. Daniel slowed his pace. At first, he told himself it wasn't his business. Life as a single dad had taught him that minding your own business was sometimes the only way to survive. He had a 6-year-old son to pick up, a double shift behind him, and exactly $12 left in his wallet until payday. Still, something about the girl made his chest tighten. She wasn't fidgeting. She wasn't playing with the phone. She wasn't crying. She was counting. 28, 29, 30. Her voice was soft, steady, and oddly calm for a child sitting alone after dark. Daniel glanced at his watch. 10:42 p.m. No child should be waiting for a bus at this hour. He took a few hesitant steps closer. "Hey there," he said gently, careful not to startle her. "Are you okay?" The girl turned her head toward the sound of his voice, but her eyes didn't follow him. They stayed fixed on nothing at all. "Yes, sir," she said politely. "I'm waiting." "Waiting for who?" "My mom." Daniel frowned. "Do you know when she'll be back?" She said soon. The girl smiled faintly, as if that word alone was supposed to explain everything. The rain picked up, tapping against the metal shelter. Cars passed without slowing. No one else seemed to notice her. Daniel crouched down in front of her. "Can I ask you something, sweetheart?" "Yes," she said immediately. "I like questions." His stomach twisted. "Can you see me?" She shook her head.
"No, sir."
"I'm blind." She said it so casually that it took a second for the weight of the words to sink in. Daniel inhaled sharply. Up close, he could see it now. The way her eyes didn't react to light, the way her head tilted slightly as she listened for his breathing instead of watching his face. "I'm Daniel," he said, forcing calm into his voice. "What's your name?" "Lily." "That's a nice name. How old are you, Lily?"
7.
"I'll be 8 in March. My mom says that makes me very responsible." Daniel straightened slowly. Responsible? That was what adults called children when they expected them to carry burdens far too heavy for their age. "Where did your mom go?" he asked. Lily tightened her grip on her backpack. "She went to get help." "What kind of help?" "She didn't say." Lily paused, then added, "She told me to sit very still. She said if I didn't move, nothing bad would happen." Daniel's heart sank. How long ago did she leave? Lily didn't answer right away. Instead, she started counting again. 104, 105. Daniel swallowed hard. He didn't need an exact number. He already knew. This wasn't a quick errand. This was abandonment. Daniel stood and scanned the street. Closed shops. Dark windows. The bus schedule taped to the shelter showed the final route had ended for the night. The rain was getting colder. He pulled off his jacket and draped it over Lily's shoulders. She stiffened. "Am I in trouble?" "No," Daniel said quickly, crouching back down. "Not at all. I just don't want you to be cold." She relaxed. "Thank you. You smell like soap and coffee. My dad used to smell like that." The words hit him like a punch. "Used to?" he asked carefully. "My mom says he's in heaven," Lily said softly. "I think heaven must be very high up." Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. He knew that look in her voice. His own son talked the same way about his mother. "Do you know your mom's phone number?" Daniel asked. "Yes," Lily said proudly. "She made me memorize it in case I ever got lost." A spark of hope flickered in his chest. "That's great. Can you tell me?" She recited it perfectly. Daniel dialed. Voicemail. He tried again. Then a third time. Nothing. Lily shifted. "Did she answer?" "No," Daniel said gently. "But that doesn't mean she won't." The lie tasted bitter. His phone buzzed. 3 missed calls from his sister. Noah would be waiting. Confused.
Worried.
Daniel looked at Lily.
Blind.
Alone. Trusting a stranger simply because he had spoken kindly to her. A memory flashed through his mind. His son once standing by the door, backpack on, waiting for father who was late because life kept getting in the way. Daniel sat down beside Lily on the cold bench. "My son's name is Noah," he said. "He's 6. Lily smiled. "Does he get scared at night?" "Sometimes," Daniel admitted. "So do I," she said quietly. "But my mom says brave people stay even when they're scared." Daniel stared out into the rain-soaked street, his chest tight with a decision he knew he couldn't undo. He had no idea why Lily had been left here. No idea what kind of person could walk away from a blind child. And no idea that the truth behind her abandonment would shake his world in ways he never imagined. But he knew one thing for certain. He wasn't leaving her alone. The police car didn't arrive with sirens. It rolled to the curb quietly, headlights washing over the bus stop like a slow-moving spotlight. For a brief moment, Daniel felt relief flood his chest. Help was here. Someone official. Someone trained. Then Lily whispered, "Are they angry?" That single question erased the relief. "No," Daniel said softly. "They're just here to help." The officer stepped out of the car, a tall woman with her hair pulled back tight and fatigue etched into her face. She paused when she saw Lily, alone on the bench, wrapped in Daniel's jacket. Her expression changed instantly. "Is this your daughter?" the officer asked. "No," Daniel replied quickly. "I found her here. She's been alone for a while." The officer's jaw tightened. She crouched in front of Lily, lowering her voice. "Hi there. I'm Officer Ramirez. What's your name?" "Lily," she said politely. "Are you the help my mom went to get?" Officer Ramirez glanced up at Daniel. "When did you last see your mother, Lily?" the officer asked. Lily tilted her head, thinking. "Before it got dark. She told me to be brave." Daniel watched the officer's pen freeze midair. "That was hours ago," he said quietly. Officer Ramirez stood and motioned toward her partner, who had remained by the car. "Call this in. Possible child abandonment." The word abandonment seemed to echo under the shelter. Lily stiffened. "Did I do something wrong?" Daniel's heart clenched. "No," he said firmly. "You did everything right." Officer Ramirez nodded. "You did, sweetheart." They tried Lily's mother's phone number again. Voicemail. Again. Disconnected. The officer frowned at her screen. "That's strange," she muttered. "What?" Daniel asked. "This number was deactivated this afternoon." Daniel felt a chill crawl up his spine. "She planned this," he said before he could stop himself. Officer Ramirez didn't disagree. They asked Lily a few more questions: where she lived, what her mother looked like, if she remembered any landmarks. Lily answered carefully, methodically, like a child who had learned that precision kept adults calm. "My mom said we were moving," Lily added suddenly. "She packed my clothes yesterday." "Moving where?" Daniel asked. "She didn't say. She just cried a lot." Officer Ramirez exchanged a look with her partner. "We're going to take Lily to the station for now," the officer said gently, "until we can locate her mother or a relative." Lily's hands trembled. She reached out blindly, fingers brushing the air. Daniel took her hand without thinking. "Can I go with him?" Lily asked. "He smells familiar." The officer hesitated. "Sir, what's your relationship to the child?" "None," Daniel said honestly. "I just didn't want her to be alone." Officer Ramirez studied him for a long moment. "Do you have children?"
Yes.
"A son."
She sighed.
"All right. You can follow us to the station. But I can't make any promises." Lily squeezed his hand tighter. Inside the station, the fluorescent lights hummed softly. Lily winced, even though she couldn't see them. "They're loud," she whispered. Daniel guided her to a chair. A social worker arrived, offering juice and a blanket. Lily accepted politely, but she never let go of Daniel's sleeve. Then Officer Ramirez returned, her face grim. "We ran the name Lily gave us," she said quietly. "There's no birth record under that surname. No school enrollment. No medical file." Daniel frowned. "That's impossible." "Not impossible," the officer replied. "Just very rare." She slid a manila folder across the table. "There is one match," she continued. "A missing child report. Filed 3 years ago. Different city. Different name." Daniel's breath caught. What are you saying? Officer Ramirez lowered her voice. The description matches Lily. Same age. Same condition. Blind since birth. The room seemed to tilt. Lily tugged on Daniel's sleeve. Did I get lost again? Daniel looked down at her, heart pounding. No, he said slowly. I think someone found you a long time ago. Officer Ramirez nodded. And someone else just left her. Silence filled the room. Daniel realized then that Lily hadn't just been abandoned that night. She had been hidden. And whatever truth waited behind her past was about to tear open a story far bigger than a single missing mother. The DNA results came back faster than Daniel expected. Officer Ramirez called him at 6:13 a.m., just as he was helping Noah tie his shoes for school. The phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, vibrating insistently, like it already knew the news it carried couldn't wait. Daniel, she said without preamble, you need to come down to the station.
Now.
Something in her voice made his stomach drop. He told Noah he'd be right back, kissed the top of his son's head, and drove through the pale morning light with his hands clenched tight around the steering wheel. He'd barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Lily sitting alone at that bus stop, counting in the dark. At the station, Officer Ramirez led him into a small conference room. A social worker was already there. So was a man in an expensive suit that didn't belong in a place that smelled faintly of old coffee and disinfectant. This is Mr. Harrington, Officer Ramirez said. He represents the Whitmore Foundation. Daniel blinked. The Whitmores? As in the Whitmore Medical Group. The man finished smoothly. And yes, those Whitmores. Daniel felt dizzy. The Whitmore name was everywhere. Hospitals, research centers, scholarships. Billionaire philanthropists. Untouchable. What does that have to do with Lily? Daniel asked. Mr. Harrington folded his hands. Everything. He slid a document across the table. The DNA confirms Lily is Charlotte Whitmore. The room went silent. Officer Ramirez spoke carefully. Charlotte Whitmore disappeared 3 years ago from a private clinic in Redwood City. Her parents reported her missing. The case went cold. Daniel's chest tightened. You're saying Lily was kidnapped? Yes, Harrington replied. And judging by last night, the woman who raised her for the past 3 years has just returned her to the system. Daniel's mind raced. Returned? Like a package. Harrington didn't flinch. That is, unfortunately, how some people treat children. A door creaked open. Lily stood there, holding her juice box, head tilted slightly as she listened. I heard my name, she said softly. Daniel's heart broke. Officer Ramirez knelt beside her. Lily, do you remember a big white house? With a piano that played by itself. Lily frowned. I remember music. And a lady who cried a lot. Daniel looked at Harrington. Her parents are alive. Yes, Harrington said. Very much so. Then, why didn't they find her? Harrington's jaw tightened. Because they were told she was dead. The words hit Daniel like a blow. The clinic fire, Harrington continued. Records destroyed. Bodies misidentified. Charlotte was legally declared deceased. Daniel stared at Lily, this quiet, brave child who counted to stay calm, who trusted strangers because she had no choice. They buried an empty coffin, Harrington said quietly. Lily reached for Daniel's hand. Am I in trouble? No, Daniel whispered. You're not. Officer Ramirez took a breath. The Whitmores want to meet her today. Absolutely not, Daniel snapped. Harrington raised an eyebrow. Mr. Parker, with respect. She was left at a bus stop, Daniel said, voice shaking. Blind. Alone. That's not how you reintroduce a child to her family. Harrington paused. They didn't know. The woman who took her contacted the foundation anonymously. We traced it after last night. So, the Whitmores just show up and take her? Daniel demanded. The law says. The law also says she was abandoned. Daniel cut in. The social worker cleared her throat. Until custody is determined, Lily, Charlotte, will remain under protective supervision. Lily squeezed Daniel's hand tighter. Please don't make me go with people I can't hear yet. Daniel swallowed hard. What do you mean? When people are rich, they sound far away, Lily said simply. Like they're talking from a very big room. No one spoke. Harrington finally said, "The Whitmores are offering to fund her care immediately.
Specialists. Surgery.
Anything she needs." Daniel laughed bitterly. They already had everything. They still lost her. Harrington's eyes narrowed. "Are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting," Daniel said slowly, "that Lily doesn't belong to anyone like a possession." Officer Ramirez exhaled. "There's one more thing you should know." She slid another file forward. "The woman who raised Lily," she said, "wasn't her kidnapper. She was paid. A long-term caregiver hired through shell companies tied to the clinic." Daniel felt sick. So Lily's life was a transaction. "Yes," Ramirez said. "And it just ended." Lily leaned her head against Daniel's arm. "Am I going to have to learn a new name?" Daniel closed his eyes. In that moment, he understood something terrifying. The world Lily was being pulled into was vast, powerful, and cold. And standing between her and that world was him. The Whitmores arrived without warning. No sirens. No crowds. Just a black sedan that slid into the parking lot of the Family Services building like it belonged everywhere it went. Daniel noticed it because everyone else did. The guard straightened, the receptionist froze mid-sentence, and Officer Ramirez's shoulders tightened the instant the doors opened. Two people stepped out. The woman walked first. Tall, elegant, wrapped in a charcoal coat that looked untouched by the cold. Her hands trembled anyway. The man followed, slower, heavier, his posture rigid, as if he were bracing for impact. "That's them," Officer Ramirez murmured. "Charlotte's parents." Lily was sitting beside Daniel in a small interview room, tracing circles on the tabletop with her fingertip. "Someone's coming," she said quietly. Daniel swallowed. "How do you know?" "The air changed," Lily replied. "And the floor sounds expensive." The door opened. The woman gasped. "Oh God," she whispered. "That's her." She took one step forward and stopped, as if afraid the floor might disappear beneath her. "My baby," she said, voice cracking. "My Charlotte." Lily flinched at the sudden emotion. She turned her face toward the sound but didn't move closer. Daniel felt every muscle in his body tighten. The man cleared his throat. "Hello," he said carefully. "I'm Richard Whitmore. This is my wife, Evelyn." Lily nodded politely. "Hello." That single word seemed to break Evelyn Whitmore. She sank into the chair across from Lily, covering her mouth as tears spilled down her cheeks. "You're alive," she sobbed. "They told us you were gone. We buried you." Lily tilted her head. "I don't remember being buried." The room went silent. Evelyn laughed through her tears, a broken, almost hysterical sound. "Of course you don't. Oh God, of course you don't." Richard Whitmore looked at Daniel. "And you are?" "Daniel," he said simply. "I found her." Richard studied him, eyes sharp, calculating. "Thank you," he said after a moment. "We owe you everything." Lily shifted uncomfortably. "Do I have to go with you now?" Evelyn reached out instinctively. Lily recoiled. That small movement said more than any words could. The social worker stepped in gently. "This is just a meeting. No decisions today." Evelyn nodded quickly. "Of course."
"I'm sorry."
"I don't want to scare her." She turned back to Lily. "Charlotte, Lily, what do you prefer?" Lily thought for a long moment. "Lily feels like me." Daniel exhaled quietly. Evelyn smiled through tears. "Then Lily it is." Richard leaned forward. "We've prepared everything. A room just like before. Her doctors are standing by. The best in the world." Lily frowned. "Will they talk to me or about me?" The question hit like a slap. Evelyn blinked. "Of course they'll talk to you." Lily nodded slowly. "Okay. I just don't like being quiet while people decide things." Daniel felt a lump rise in his throat. Richard turned to him again. "Mr. Parker, we'd like you to know we're grateful. Anything you need, financially, legally, just say the word." Daniel shook his head. "This isn't about money." Richard's jaw tightened slightly. "Everything is about money, whether we admit it or not." Lily turned toward Daniel's voice. He's different. Evelyn looked confused. Different how, sweetheart? He listens before he moves, Lily said. Most people move first. Evelyn pressed a hand to her chest. We want to take her home, Richard said carefully. But we understand transitions are hard. Daniel leaned forward. You don't know her. Richard bristled. She's our daughter. You lost her, Daniel said quietly. And she's been surviving without you ever since. Silence stretched between them. Evelyn spoke softly. We failed her. Every day, for 3 years. Lily hesitated, then asked, why did the lady who took care of me cry every night? Evelyn's breath hitched. Richard looked away. Because, Evelyn whispered, she knew she would have to give you back someday. Lily absorbed that. Did she love me? Yes, Evelyn said immediately. I believe she did. Lily nodded. Then maybe she was sad because loving someone means losing them sometimes. Daniel closed his eyes. A 7-year-old shouldn't understand grief that well. The social worker stood. We'll adjourn for today. There will be supervised visits going forward. Richard nodded stiffly. Evelyn stood slowly and knelt in front of Lily, but this time, she kept her hands to herself. May I sit near you? She asked. Lily considered, then scooted her chair an inch to the side. Evelyn sat on the floor beside her, tears falling silently. Daniel watched it all with a pounding heart. This wasn't a reunion. It was a collision between two worlds. And Daniel knew the hardest part was still coming, because soon, Lily would have to choose where she truly belonged. The courtroom was quieter than Daniel expected. No dramatic gavel slam. No raised voices. Just the soft hum of the air conditioner and the faint shuffle of papers as lives were weighed in silence. Lily sat beside Daniel on the wooden bench, her feet not touching the floor, her fingers curled tightly around the edge of his sleeve. Is this where people decide things? She whispered. Yes, Daniel murmured. But you get to talk too. She nodded, though her grip tightened. Across the room, Richard and Evelyn Whitmore sat with their attorneys, calm, composed, powerful. The kind of people who looked like they belonged anywhere decisions were made. Evelyn's eyes, however, never left Lily. The judge entered. Everyone stood. As the hearing began, words like custody, guardianship, and best interest of the child floated through the air, heavy and distant. Lily leaned closer to Daniel. They're talking fast, she whispered. Like they don't want to feel it. Daniel swallowed hard. The social worker spoke first, outlining Lily's history, abduction, concealment, abandonment. The judge listened, face unreadable. Then the Whitmore's attorney stood. My clients have the means to provide Lily with the finest medical care, education, and security. They have waited 3 years to hold their daughter again. Lily shifted uncomfortably. Daniel rose when it was his turn. His voice shook at first, but he forced himself to keep going. I don't have money, he said simply. I don't have influence. I found Lily because I didn't walk past her. The courtroom stilled. She's not broken, Daniel continued. She's scared. She's smart. She listens. And she needs stability more than she needs luxury. The judge turned her attention to Lily. Lily, would you like to tell me how you feel? The room seemed to hold its breath. Lily took a moment, then spoke clearly. I know they're my parents. I can hear love in their voices. Evelyn covered her mouth. But, Lily continued, love isn't loud. It's the person who stays when you're quiet. Daniel's eyes burned. I don't want anyone to disappear again, Lily said. I don't like big houses where echoes hide people. The judge nodded slowly. What would make you feel safe right now? Lily reached out and touched Daniel's arm.
Him.
And his son. They sound like home. A sob broke from Evelyn's chest. Richard Whitmore stood abruptly. We never chose to lose her. The judge raised a hand. Sit down, Mr. Whitmore. Silence fell. After a long moment, the judge spoke. The court recognizes the Whitmores as Lily's biological parents. However, given the trauma involved, immediate transfer of custody is not in the child's best interest. Daniel's heart pounded. Temporary guardianship, The judge continued, will be granted to Daniel Parker, with supervised visitation for the Whitmores and a reunification plan centered on Lily's consent. Evelyn wept openly. Richard stared at Daniel, stunned. Lily leaned into Daniel's side. Did I do okay? You did perfectly, he whispered. Outside the courthouse, reporters gathered, cameras flashing. Daniel shielded Lily instinctively. Mr. Parker, someone shouted. Are you adopting the billionaire's daughter? Daniel didn't answer. That night, Lily sat at Daniel's small kitchen table, listening to Noah explain dinosaurs with wild enthusiasm. They're very loud, Lily said, smiling. Noah grinned. The T-Rex is, but the Triceratops protects. Lily nodded thoughtfully. Later, as Daniel tucked her into the spare bed, she whispered, Do you think people can have more than one family? Daniel smiled softly. I think family is who refuses to leave. Lily turned her face toward his voice. Then I think I'm going to be okay. Daniel stood in the doorway long after she fell asleep. He had found a blind girl abandoned at a bus stop. What he learned changed everything. Not because she was rich, not because she was missing, but because sometimes the smallest choice to stay can rewrite an entire life.